Now we're live.
We are live.
It's the first episode of Geekgasm.
It is. It is the first episode. Wow. And I'm here.
You are.
I'm here, so that's important. That's important.
No, it's all about me.
It's it's quite neat. No, I think that the cool thing about me being here is I get to be
Ask questions and harassed.
yeah. Notice I'm just a guest today. I'm not.
You are.
I'm not a part of this.
No.
I'm just a guest. This is weird. This is weird being on your show. I don't know if I like it.
I'm always on your show.
Yeah.
We're just switching roles.
Yeah. But you get to sit on my show and just sit there.
I know. Now I have to do all the talking.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Geekgasm. I know that you pitched your show as your show.
Mm-hmm.
You pitched it as your
It's the women's take on geeky things.
right. And so you're gonna have women come in who are making comics, making films, music, perhaps.
Whoever wants to come in that's doing independent things, I would love to talk to them.
Ah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so I
Kind of
guess-
like your show, but only with girls. I mean, we're gonna have some guy guests.
Are you Paul Feiging my like? I think you're just basically
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm taking your style totally.
taking my style and turning it into. I'm being Paul Feig. Let's see here. I'm putting up your. I am controlling your board.
You are,
Mhm.
which is normally my job for you.
You want to read that?
The advocating channel says roleplay for the couple. Hi Ted, how are you? And Randy says that you need a mic.
Yeah, the problem is we're in the same room and I don't have it set up. I should have it set up a little better. Or I can,
Next show will be better.
Yeah.
This is the first one, so you gotta bear with us. Well, with me anyways. Not him so much.
Yeah, 'cause I never would have such a shoddy show. I'm just kidding. So much like INDIEVOLT, you do have questions. We're not going to get into those right now.
No, we gotta
But,
show everybody the wonderful intro.
That's right. So we're going to roll the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, they're watching what?
Geekgasm.
If they didn't know, here's the intro. Yay. That was suggestive.
Yeah, Randy, you can bear with me.
uh, it's,
And yes, Ted, I am in charge.
yeah, she's in charge of this. And this is her show. Their show. She is totally in charge. She sat down earlier and started working on what she wanted on the show and what she wants the show to become. And anybody who makes YouTube shows, I think they know that it can get pretty difficult to say again.
But it can be fun.
Yeah, I think that people know that running these shows can be kind of hard. I mean, it's very hard to put a show together. Very hard to try to keep a format, especially if you don't have one. So when you don't have a format, you can't keep it together, right? But it is hard to kind of even design a format. I know a couple of very popular shows on YouTube, and they had to fight to get a format. But she told me she wanted to do this show, and I think it's important. I think that, and I know she agrees, that female voices in comics are very important in geek culture because, the sane ones anyway. Anyway, none of you are saying, yeah.
No artists or anyone in the geek culture is saying, I'm sorry. But we're insane in a fun way.
I think that I would say that anybody that's anybody that's crazy enough to go out and try to create, be that through art, writing. He gotta be a little insane. I mean, we make the jokes that every comic artist is insane, and yeah, I think maybe there's a little truth to that. Would you say so, Lola?
Yes. Everybody I know has their own issues, whether it be good or bad. Mostly good, though. It's fun to hang out with a lot of the artists that I've met through you, actually. Traveling with you, because you are the artist. I'm just a tag along in the help. And the eye candy.
Yeah, I think that we try to like I remember when I first because I think it's really interesting when I first started doing cons. Not well, even before that. Yeah, if I go back to when I first started attending cons, there were no females, and we said this on IndieVolt live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this very channel if you're interested. Anyway, we said that uh, when we used to go to shows when I was younger, there weren't a lot of females at these shows, and the females that were there were usually some guy's girlfriend that he drug to the show, or booth girls. And those booth girls, I think Randy said there would be lines, right? Of some guy waiting to take a picture with a Vampirella cosplayer, or and these were guys are bringing girls, putting them in spandex outfits, and hey, this is my character, I'm gonna take a picture with her, and people were doing it, and people were paying too. They were paying large amounts of money to do that. But
10 years ago now,
mm-hmm.
it was just a whole bunch of guys. I remember so many guys just wanting to take pictures of me, and I wasn't even the talent.
Yeah, yeah.
They want to take pictures with me, of my feet, of my shoes, all kinds of different things.
I remember that. It was very weird.
Yeah.
um, but now you have females that are behind the table in a different way. Now you have females actually making the books, writing the books, you know, doing the art. It's really there's been a cultural shift, and um, you've been there, you've seen it, you kind of watched it. Um, I don't know if it's ever as shocking to you because you came in right kind of again at the start of it. You saw the very end, and then there's a new emerging of women in the culture. If you are watching though, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button because this show will be back on every Wednesday. Wednesday, 9 p.m. So every Wednesday. Oh man, I'm never gonna have any days off.
No, you're not.
Wednesday at 9 p.m. Okay.
You'll be alright.
Yeah.
If not, you just have to deal.
That's what I've been doing for the last couple years. That's all I can do.
Go with the flow.
Yeah. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. But there is an idea, and now because this show is going to be very feminine based, and it's going to be very I won't. It's not adult, but it's going to be a little bit edgier than what we do on IndieVolt live. The idea is that you're going to do a 30-minute pre-show. It's going to be available everywhere, and then at 9:30, you're going to switch over to just YouTube.
No, Twitch.
Or can you? So people can watch you everywhere until 9:30.
Yeah.
Then until 9:30. Then 9:30 they have to go over to YouTube.
Yep.
It's like having cable. Gotta switch over.
Gotta make that switch.
Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure they can do that. We'll let's see here. I know we wait for some people to come in. Until then, though, see if I have anything. Oh, I have this funny graphic. It's been making its rounds on YouTube. Now it's found a home here on Geekgasm, which is
Yeah, you said that was me.
mm-hmm.
Is that how I look when I twerk?
I think so.
Okay, I'll take your opinion on that.
So, how long have you been reading comics?
Me?
You the person in the room?
Since I got with you
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago.
10 years.
I really knew nothing about the industry at all besides movies. My dad loved the Spider-Man movies, so that's all he watched. And I got sick and tired of it. But I really didn't read any comics or anything. Ralph is lurking about. Hi, Ralph.
That Ralph Griffin lurking about. Um, I wonder if
Steve says he can barely hear you.
well, what I'm trying to do is hey Steve, what I'm trying to do is I'm muting my mic so that I don't get that echo from hers. But I guess I could. If I would have been really smart, I just would have moved you over here. But people are used to that angle for you, so yeah, I could have did that. I could have did something really cool, like moved you over. Yeah, yeah, we don't think around here. I'll try to keep my mic like this so everybody can hear me. Um, yeah, when I first met you, you didn't read many comics. You were always open to do it though. You were open to read the books, and I remember her first Comic Con. She was kind of shocked at what was going on. She took pictures of everything
I was
because
confused.
yeah, she uh she was very shocked about what she was seeing. People in costumes. Her first Comic Con was Detroit Fan Fair out in
It
Dearborn,
was.
Michigan in 2000 and was it? I can't remember.
10.
2010. 2010.
It
Yeah.
was.
Um, and she was. I actually just came across pictures from that show. If I would have been thinking this topic was going to come up, I would have put him here. But yeah, she took pictures of everything and everyone. Um, Steve says, "Did you read Calvin and Hobbes or Far Side in school?"
I did not. I went to a really bad school district, and we didn't have any good stuff. We had old textbooks, and it was horrible. And then
Did
I
you,
went to a medical high school, so
did you ever did you read the Sunday paper at all, or the comic strips in the paper?
not really, no.
Hmm.
My parents never really got the Sunday paper.
Mm. Poverty, poverty, extreme poverty.
It was. I mean, I grew up in Detroit.
Yeah, yeah. That's I think I remember you even making a comment about how many books I had in the house, like book shelves and cases of books, to the point where I've been
Hey,
told that.
it's Rachel.
Oh, hey, hey. She says MHA was that the Michigan Health Academy.
Yeah,
That's
it was.
Lola's best friend in the whole wide world, Rachel.
It
Hello,
is.
Rachel. Who actually helped you test this whole thing out earlier.
Yeah, thanks to her
Yeah,
for bearing with us and
yeah,
sticking with us.
yeah. Nothing crashed, so that was good. Um, yeah, she has read a lot though, a lot of books since we've been together. She read,
My first book was Civil War.
yeah, yeah, she read Civil War, and then when we went to go see the movie, she was very upset because she said, "This is nothing like the comic. None of that happened." And I remember you being a little upset about that.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, tell me about when since you do the cons with me and everything, eh, I remember I used to at the very beginning I used to pick your outfits at the very beginning. And I tried to be modest, guys. Believe it or not, I put her on full shirts and like
I was covered up.
yeah, I covered her up. I thought I was being
T-shirts and yoga pants.
yeah, yeah. That's what I put her on, the flare leg yoga pants at that.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I thought I was being nice. And then she's like, I want to pick my own stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's one less job for me. Cool. And sometimes I have to rein her in. Like, you can't wear that. There's children there. There's children at those shows. You can't wear that type of stuff. Um,
I will have new outfits this year. I plan on getting a couple new things for this con season. Hopefully.
yes, that's one of the problems. Now, do you think that if because I got to make sure that you don't go too far. I got to make sure that you don't go out there with nipple tassels and everything else on.
No, only if that was a rave.
Yeah. Or Ralph says, release the Kraken. Yeah, that's what she'll do. She'll everything will be out. Everything. Um,
No, not at all.
she doesn't own a pair of heels under 6 inches.
I don't. That's sad.
Yeah, yeah, she doesn't like. I'm always afraid she's gonna get called to court.
Even
I,
my flip flops have heels on them.
yeah, I was worried. I know it's a bad situation to make a joke on, but I remember when uh, your great grandfather passed away, and it was like, well, we gotta go to the funeral, and she's looking for what she's gonna wear like a week before, and everything she has is black. It's like see through or tight
Super low
fitting.
cut.
Yeah, super low cut, and I think then your grandma take put the boobs away.
She did.
Yeah, put the boobs away, and on top of that, I'm like, well, does your grandmother know that the only heels you have are like 12-inch platform heels of that? You you had to
It took us forever to find shoes.
yeah, I finally found you some shoes, and I'm like, you think you wore them once and that was it? Nipple tassels are the rave. Yeah,
It can
I
be fun. I never had a pair. Maybe I should buy a pair and just try them out.
and what at a con? No.
No, not at a con.
Oh
Just here. I'll wave them around in your face.
no. Nipple tassels. It's like your tits graduated or something. Look, I got tassels.
Well, they grow all the time, so maybe they are
Yeah,
graduating.
yeah. Okay, explain that to us. You have a gland disorder,
I do.
and the gland disorder causes your girls to grow.
At least one cup size a year.
Now, for me, that's like, hey, but for you, that's painful. It hurts.
It's a lot of tension on my back and on my shoulders, especially like right up in here. It
Mm.
gets really bad. But I promise I'm not going to get a reduction unless it becomes a medical necessity. But I mean, I am already at an age.
Shameful, shameful. Man, we don't have that problem.
Rachel says they're huge.
They're huge. Yeah, yeah they're. So now that switching tracks here for a second, back to comics. Since you've been involved in geek culture, now you've worked at your first job ever was because of me.
It
Uh,
was.
GameStop.
It was awful.
Yeah, she worked in the video game store. So if you're one of those guys who, you know, is there a girl at the video game store? There was, and she played a lot of, uh, a lot of video games at that point. And she went and bought video game shirts, and she couldn't fit into those because they were all too tight around the chest area. But did you ever encounter any sexism while working at GameStop?
At GameStop, no.
Yeah. Did you ever feel that guys were overly nice to you?
Yeah.
Because there was another girl there. I forget. I don't want to say her name, obviously. But there's another girl that was there, and she was the anti you, like kind of
Yep.
prudish, not. She just. I didn't. I mean, people liked her, but they didn't. I remember that because I used to go to that GameStop quite a bit, and you were the flip side of that. But you only worked there for a couple months, and then
3
you
months.
were happy to. Yeah, you were happy to get on. So you didn't get the full. You didn't get the full GameStop experience.
I did. I had to work Black Friday. That was awful.
Rachel said, "How big are they
They're an H.
for hell?" But Rachel. By the way, congratulations. I thought the first person ever asked that question on the show would be a
A
guy,
guy.
but it's not. You've proven that females are a lot worse than men. So yeah, you've just proven it. Thank you, Rachel. Had to happen. First show had to happen. How big are they really? Um, I'm
I'm
gonna.
waiting for someone to ask if they're real.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there we go.
Yeah, that's pretty much me.
Mm-hmm. Um, let's answer one question here. See if I can find it. Oh, it's a question from
JR's here.
yeah. Hey Jr.
We are live.
Yeah. I'm gonna put up a question for me. I'll try to wait for some of your guests to arrive, but I'm not sure when they're gonna get here. So I'm gonna put up a question right now, and this question is from me.
Splat.
Yeah. It says Sci-Fi Wire recently read an article asking if comics companies are missing out on an opportunity by not selling comics in movie theaters. Want to know how you feel about that? Do you think they're missing out on an opportunity there?
No, I mean if they sold variant copy, like a variant edition, like they did for Venom, that would be cool, just as like a giveaway. But having like a comic book store in the movie theater, that's not gonna work. I think the stores need to like team up with movie theaters maybe, and like get together when a movie's coming out and do like discounts at the store if you go to this movie theater and show your ticket. I think that would work. But I mean, sales are bad right now at the stores, so why would they be any better at the movie theater?
Uh, that's a good point. That's a good point. I don't understand. I mean, I guess um, if I were putting out a movie that was based on a comic, I would think that even as the publisher, I'm gonna want to maybe even take a 10 page, maybe even 13 page sample comic of like the first issue, something that even relates to the movie, like an origin, and put those copies even for free inside my local theater or inside of theaters, not just local theaters, but theaters. Hey, anybody who buys a ticket gets this book. But we talked about this earlier, and you brought up a good point. You said something about the comfortability of carrying a comic in your hands. What were you saying about that?
Oh, people don't want to carry a whole bunch of stuff when they're seeing a movie, especially in some movie theaters where you don't have the recliner seats. You gotta pile everything in your lap and just hold it there. You can't get comfortable. And then you gotta worry about people messing with the stuff. Like if it's a poster or a book, you're gonna hear all that rattling, especially if it's a kid. And then the movie experience is just gone. I mean, I get annoyed at popcorn sometimes when someone's smacking popcorn. It's so annoying. And then you
Popcorn.
got the guys that have a whole bunch of stuff. And this actually happened to me where the guy was trying, I guess, to put something on the ground and he rubbed my leg.
Those legs. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, all
Um,
kinds of things could happen.
yeah. I mean, I get it. Oh, Ralph said, wonder why they use the alphabet to sides and up. He's talking
That's a
about
good question. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, being at an H now is pretty.
I don't even know what the next size is because they skip letters.
Yeah, yeah. That's And then Randy said, "We're just getting the important questions out the way." Um,
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, that is a valid point, though. I mean, you go to the movie theater, you walk
Greasy
in.
Butterfingers on my comic. Exactly. There's another good point I didn't think of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you walk in the store, you walk in the theater. You say, "Hey, there's that issue of Spider-Man that I want." You pick it up, and then you got you in the theater. Now, where do you put it? You roll. You don't want to roll it, put it in your back pocket. You sit it on your floor. Someone might step on it. There's not a lot of places to put the comics, and I mean, really, I think that I don't know if comics. And then too, okay, if I'm a comic store, I'm pissed because not only now do I have to compete with Walmart down the street, I gotta compete with the movie theater.
Yeah. But I don't think the movie theater would do good because people don't go there for comics. Like I said, they're barely going to the comic book stores to purchase comics right now. So why would they go to a movie theater to purchase comics? And some of the people that go to the movie theater to see the comic book movies don't even know about the comics.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. We how many cons have we gone to where people walk in and they say, "Oh, did they still make these?" I've heard that a lot lately, especially like last year and this year. People actually surprised that they still make comic books. I mean, that's pretty sad. Oh wait, not
They're
not
not
super.
oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
Not super practical for a theater unless as a show lets out. Lets out.
Yeah.
I still don't see it.
And then Randy's talked about this before. Okay, so this is how some of these companies do it now. All right, so let's say there's a character called um, Ralph Griffith, and we put the Ralph Griffith movie out, and I own the Ralph Griffith comic. For some reason, publishers will wait to the moment where that movie is out and say, "What are we gonna do to Ralph in the comic?" The month the movie comes out, the same week the movie comes out. Hey, let's take Ralph out the comic. Let's kill the character of Ralph, set him on the side, put this other character in who's not like Ralph at all. And when I go to the theater or wherever, the store, to buy this book, now the character that I fell in love with on screen there isn't there. So I don't want to even read the comics. This isn't anything like the movie. Um, but
Only a free thing the customer can pick up coming or going.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I said. If it's like a variant to the movie, like I know for the Venom movie they had like little free issues, that's okay. But as far as like having an actual place to buy comics inside a movie theater, it's not gonna work.
that doesn't seem like a good idea to me at all. That they would try. That they even want to do that. I do think that having artists set up during opening night is a fun idea, and I've seen that a couple times. Back when I was wrestling, during wrestling pay-per-views, they used to show like WWE um, pay-per-views at the theater and at the Imagine Theater, and you can go buy a ticket, and it was a lot cheaper and fun because you can go sit around a bunch of wrestling guys and eat, popcorn and hot dogs and beer and pop in a movie theater. It was cool, and there would be some wrestlers who would come and they'd set up tables out in the lobby and they'd sign autographs. They never put on matches or anything, but they'd sign autographs and give out tickets to shows that were coming up, and that was cool. And you know, uh, it wasn't. And I've seen comic artists do it at other shows at theaters during like X-Men or Spider-Man movies. And I think that could be cool, but to be there to try to get people now, and I think the comic shop owners shouldn't want that either. I think that's more competition for them.
Yeah.
But you said something, and it's pretty important. Comic shops to try to get into theaters. And hey, Joey Langdon just subscribed to the channel. Thanks, Joey.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, they could go to the theater. The comic shop owners could go to the theater and set up deals and say, hey, if you go see X Men, bring your ticket stub in and get 30% off all X Men content in my store.
Not to cut you off,
Mm-hmm.
but we have like 30 seconds before we're going off of Facebook.
Do you want to do that tonight, or you want to?
Ah, we can do it next time.
Yeah, I think we should do this time. They got a warning this time.
You guys are lucky.
You've been warned.
You got your free pass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but then you can go from there to making everybody go on YouTube and see it or that. And they definitely want to go over on YouTube and check it out because you can get away with more. It's sad. You can get away with more on YouTube, which is very restrictive, than you can on Facebook. Let's see. Yeah, and then Ralph says, "Phew, the day the wrestling is being taped, so I can be live." Yeah, you know, Ralph. I'm tired of WWE and AEW booking their shows around me. They don't have any concern for my show. um,
We
that's
have
up.
3 days a week, so
Yeah. That's something else too, as far as being a geek. When uh, I don't know, Lola wasn't into anything. Like she wasn't into comics, or she would watch movies, but and she was always a book reader, like a novel chapter book reader. But she never was. I think wrestling. Did rest?
wrestling at my god sister's house.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I would go over there, her dad would have wrestling on, so I would watch it. But the sad thing was, I liked the girl matches more because I got thought the girls were hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
But
used to.
I always loved Undertaker and I liked the Boogeyman.
It's funny you mentioned it. I got a new. There's a tweet from the Boogeyman 1 hour ago. He was in the gym, working out, exercise machine. It's pretty cool. The Boogeyman was always an underutilized character in my opinion. So all right, let's go to
Yes.
another question.
More
Um,
splooges.
more splooges, more splooges. Here we go. Oh, did we get another?
Jello wrestling.
Yeah.
No Jello. We talked about that earlier. That we all agreed on pudding.
Yeah, yeah. Chat. What do you think about that? Jello or pudding wrestling? Jello or pudding? Which is your preferred type of wrestling? I'm probably going with pudding myself. Jello is get so messy and
Chocolate pudding. At least it tastes good.
I don't see. I don't like pudding. I want to eat pudding.
I know you don't, but chocolate pudding is good.
I don't like pudding. I don't like Jello.
You're weird.
I'm okay with like some type of yogurt, but I don't
No,
like
no
cottage
yogurt.
cheese. I don't like. Gosh, I'm just weird. I don't. What else is that? Is the other crap you eat? Ugh,
Cottage cheese?
cottage cheese. And around there, I tell everybody about the time I put up on. I put was it sour cream on a bagel? I thought it was cream cheese and it wasn't. Next question for you. It's been a long held belief that female artists make more or do better at Comic Cons than their male counterparts. Do you think this is true? That's from Brandy.
To an extent, it is true. If a girl has something to show off, then yeah, she's gonna attract the guys, which she's gonna make more sales. I've seen it all the time. I mean, I sit at our table with low cut shirts, showing off the girls, and guys come over just to talk to me and they buy our stuff.
I, I mean, yeah, I guess I can see that. It's pretty sad. When I've seen girls do it though. I mean, I don't know if they have it. I don't know. I don't know if they have it easier either though, because I don't know if the wording on that is correct. Because uh, like, okay, if somebody buys your, hmm,
Rebel Comics,
uh,
you said, so it's all sex based. It is.
it very well may be. I mean, I guess you would assume that the girl, somebody comes over there and they buy the girl's books. Are they gonna, are they buying the book because they gonna go home and enjoy the content? Or are they buying because some hot girl sold it to them?
Because some hot girl sold it to him. I mean, some might actually read it. They might be interested in it. But the original, the reason why they originally came over was to talk to that girl.
Hmm. I mean, when I one of my first Comic Cons I went to, there was a Playboy Playmate, and she got me for quite a bit of money. Um, so yeah, I mean, I was a fool. I gave her a bunch of money for photos of her, like me and her, like together, fully clothed, like at her table. It was like $40 for a Polaroid picture with her. Um, Randy says, I saw a great Jello wrestling match once when I was at convention in Columbus. Unforgettable. Of course, that should read Jello, not yellow. Actually, the Jello is green. Um, Rebel says, LOL, well, it's the same as watching Twitch with a pretty girl. The whole male geek fantasy. Like, wow, I'm a nerdy geek, and here is the ultra hot girl who was also a geek. Uh, Man, she will, which maybe she'll like me. I'm sorry, I thought you were saying Maine, like Terrence Howard. Maine, Maine, I don't even know Maine.
That's exactly it.
And Joey says, hot women in comics. Yeah, I mean, you would think that, oh, look, there's this hot girl, and she's into comics, and I don't know if I think girls have always liked comics. I know a couple of cosplayers that I seen. I sent an article today. Someone wrote, "How do I get a female cosplayer to like me?" I was like, "Well, they're still girls. They're still females. It's not."
They don't bite unless you ask.
Bite me and punch you in the damn head. And then Larry says, and they hope there is some sort of connection based on their hobbies. What the male doesn't understand is the pretty girl is in it for the money. Is all in it for the money. Most of
Not
the
me.
cosplayers are on the far left, and they don't like me. Well, Larry, you should tell me you're an acquired taste. You have to taste it first.
But I don't think all the girls are in it for the money. I mean, some girls actually want to get their comics out there and their artwork out there. It's just a bonus that they're pretty and can attract guys. So there are a few that just want the money. I've seen it. I know a few. But then you do have the honest girls that actually do want to get their work out there and be noticed.
I mean, if it was as simple as dressing up as a chick, I'd do it a little bit more because I make a gorgeous girl. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but I make a pretty cute girl.
It's
Just throwing
sad
that
and
out
it's
there.
scary.
Just throwing that out there. Oh. Let me see. I'm gonna come bring up the next question in 1 second. I want to check something here. Uh, Make sure that all of my stuff went out. Okay, there we go. Oh, okay.
I got another question.
Go
Or
ahead.
another thing. Comics had a high female readership in the 30s and 40s when everyone was reading comics. Also, manga has also always had a high female readership.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
manga.
manga does attract a lot of females, especially teenage females. That's what I've noticed lately going to cons. There's a lot of teenage females that are fans of anime and other things like that.
I don't break everybody's attention, but no matter what anybody says, I make a hot chick. So everybody here can back off because I set up I set up at the cosplay at the Comic Con like that. Mm, mm, mm. Y'all ain't gonna get.
If you can draw sexy women, Varian, we may have to do business together. He can draw very sexy women. I
Yeah, the
actually
last.
model for him a lot when he's trying to think of concepts. And his women are really pretty.
I used to draw sexy women, and then um, I was working with another artist who told me that the character was too sexy and I shouldn't draw that, and he didn't want to work with me anymore because my women weren't they were too sexy. Yeah.
No one does romance books hardly anymore. I'm actually thinking about doing one.
Oh no.
Because I do have a publishing company that I'm doing nothing with right now. And it was going to be more adult themed, more erotic stuff. So maybe in the near future, I'll have something for you.
Larry says, I want to see. I want to see what Larry. Oh, the female.
The girls.
Oh, the girls. Okay. No, the female girls back. The girls back.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for joining us. You're part of the first episode of Geekgasm.
Steve says, yeah, manga does a lot more romance and slice of life stories. They do. There's a lot of there's a lot there's a lot of female led stories in manga, and I think that the funny thing is when I read manga, um, and even the stories that are female led or aimed at a female audience, they are well written, well crafted. They're not like a lot of yes queen slay stories. They're not made to make. I mean, the characters all have different personalities. Some of the problems with some of the comics today is that you can't tell the characters apart. Like all the characters say the same thing. Like their lines could be interchangeable. If Wolverine can say something that sounds like it came out of Cyclops' mouth, you wrote the story incorrectly. So, but when you read manga, I mean, the characters are they're well thought out for the most part. I'm pretty sure if we all lived in Japan, we'd have some mangas that we didn't like. We'd be able to tell you which one sucks. Rebel says, I want to see your art variant. I put some up. And he says, there is no such thing in the Niobe verse for too sexy. uh, Ralph says, more 50 Shades of Grey. And Steve says, despite the popularity of shonen in the West, the subject matter of comics in the East has always been a lot more diverse. And he says, you have a mega audio issues variant. Sometimes you are clear, sometimes it sounds like you are 50 feet away. Yeah, it's because I keep doing this.
We're muting one mic and unmuting another because we're in the same room, so it's a major echo if we have both our mics on at the same time. So when he's talking, my mic is muted, and when I'm talking, his mic is muted. We're gonna get it figured out for the second episode.
Yeah, we gotta get rid of that this echo. And then echoes. Is the reason there are more comic sales in the 30s and 40s, and the 50s and 60s was that there were comics being made specifically for the female audience. Yeah, and then Diamond came in, I guess, and told them that female audience doesn't exist. Now look, see thumbs these guys up enjoying the
Am I
campaign.
muted or you're muted? You're muted.
Yeah, you gotta read it.
Oh. Thumbs these guys up and join the campaign to get Rebel a wrench.
Yeah, we'll make you a moderator.
Ralph says I got a story idea for the daughter of Sinbad and her female. Okay.
Yeah, her female Rue.
Rue? Is that how you say it? Okay.
Days brings us teamwork.
You're muted still.
And Steve says, very true at Randy Zimmerman. And Randy says, who created the romance comic back in the 40s? Simon and Kirby. Just to put food on their table. And it sold. It sold well. I think those books, nowadays, I've seen a couple of romance comics, in like the bins at comic shows, and I've always been interested to pick. I should have picked up one and read it, and I buy it and just kind of see what it is, and because I guess I kind of think they're like those cheesy romance novels you'll see inside of supermarkets, but they might not be that bad. They might actually be pretty good.
Do mine, so that will be fun.
Yeah, you can try. You can try to help you. Next question.
What is it? Are fake geek girls really a thing, or is it that sexist gatekeeping? Mel Wong Becker. Thanks, Mel, for writing in. Uh, yeah, I do think they are fake geek girls. They see a way to get some money from geeks, and they'll try to just pick a character and, oh, I like this character, but know nothing about it. Or, oh, I can play video games, but only one. So I do think there are fake geek girls.
I remember a meme that I seen years ago, and it's like it was a girl. It was two girls, and this girl said, "Oh, this girl walked past her with a GameStop bag, and she says, "You play video games?" And the girl's like, "Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, I'm a real big video gamer too. I'm such a game geek. We should hang out sometime and play video games together." And the girl's like, "Oh, okay, well, we'll do that." And the next scene, you see her getting really mad because she's, you know, like got a game on her PC, and she's, I think it's like World or Warcraft or something. But the girl that she was hanging out with is playing Angry Birds on her phone. So I mean, I get it. I mean, I guess the idea that you do have a lot of people playing video games now because they're right there on your phone. I mean, my mother is. Whoa, whoa! What'd you say?
Games on your phone are real video games. They're not.
You heard it here first. Lola.
I play games on the phone, but I wouldn't consider myself a video game gamer because I play games on my phone. No. I actually play on our PlayStation 4. I played on the PlayStation 3. I used to have an Xbox 360. So I am a gamer. I'm not just a phone gamer. Maybe we can use that word, phone gamer. There's a video gamer and a phone gamer.
I don't know if you're heading down a path I cannot follow. No,
Well, I'm sorry, but that's just my opinion.
I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from, but I think there's some game developers out there who would get really upset. But I do understand what you're saying. You feel like a gamer because here's the difference. Here's one of the differences. Um, I go like in a couple months. I'm gonna have to go get 500, $600 and plop it down and get a new PlayStation, the PlayStation 5. And I'll come on with the PlayStation 5 and like two games and play. And for two, and then I'm gonna be bored because it's only gonna be like two games for like 3 months. And then I made this $500 investment in this new machine and this new tech. I'm paying 60 to $70 for the games, right? If not more.
That were collectibles with statues and other things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's the statues and the other things, the other like the collector's edition games. But I guess maybe what you're saying is that then you get a phone gamer. I pick up my phone, I download any game on for free. Some of those are pay to win and pay to get bonuses and stuff. But I really might not have to pay any money. I got this game, and I wonder if mobile gaming has affected console gaming to the point where they're starting to notice a big drop off. I don't know. Open read this. You got comments.
Yeah, there's lots of comments. You're going too fast. Which one do you want me to read first? Yeah. Okay. Like we've discussed on the individual podcast, the main reason manga is so popular is because the mainstream comic companies never catered enough to the female audience.
That's true.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think that
If a female is really into comics, then what's the difference? I don't think a comic book company should have to cater to a certain sex if they're just a comic book fan. Like if you like Avengers, then why do they have to cater to the females or the males? Why can't it just be, oh, I'm an Avengers fan, I'm gonna read all the Avenger books, no matter what?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I think that if as long like you're right, if you're a fan, you'll be a fan of it originally. I think everyone wants to see themselves or see their I want to say see their favorite characters. Well, I do. I want to see more. I want to see more Wolverine in the X-Men books. I want to see Wolverine lead the team. But then again, I've seen that, and that was a great cartoon. Now I've seen Raphael lead the Turtles, and that's such a great cartoon. But I think everyone wants to see their favorite characters. And sometimes if you're a female or a male, you want this particular character to be center stage. And some companies will cater to that. They know they got a large female audience. Oh, we're gonna make the female, the new leader of the team. I think that sometimes though now with the writing, it seems that they do that when it makes no sense. Like they'll make. I don't know. Kitty Pryde is a good leader for the X Men. Kitty Pryde is a good leader. Stormer's been a good leader, a field commander. And Kitty Pryde's been a good field commander. A Rogue has been field commander at one point. Um, those are all good choices. I don't think they were pandering at that point with Rogue. I think Rogue was like a natural, fit to be the leader of the X Men for a while. Um, let's see. Next one is our romance and crime noir comics, like in the 40s for sure. Same with Western and war comics. Steve says maybe fake geek girls exist, but I don't see what the point is in being mad about it. Seems like you should be more worried about what you're doing. And I do think that those female, I think the fake, I can't talk today, fake geek girl, uh, it became such an insult because guys were starting to think that girls are just coming in the industry and just taking over. You don't have to go on. Hmm?
They're getting guys money and they weren't even really into the industry at all. They didn't play any games, they didn't read any comics, and they were posers just to see what industry. And that made the real geek girls look bad, and guys didn't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen clips where girls will come in and like in video games and they're like, "Hey, how much? Are you a real girl?" Yeah, and you see all these guys giving them money and expensive like rare weapons and games and stuff, which is always pretty weird and funny to see that. It was a couple different videos about that. Ralph says it's mainly superheroes, fantasy, or bust for the most part. I'm the Civ 4 Beyond the Sword lover. Uh, Randy says DC was printing romance comics well into the early 70s and then dropped them and ordered a contract on superhero books. And Randy, was that around the time that Diamond told them their main audience was males? That's around the same time, or was that before then? Steve says Brubaker is helping to bring crime noir comics back. Black Sad is also a great noir comic with a Disney for adults art style. And Steve, I want to tell you real quick. You wrote a question about the Scholastic books at last night on IndieVolt Live, and we didn't get a chance to really get into that, but we will tomorrow. Me and Randy are going to talk about it because we didn't get a chance to really do that, but we will. We'll definitely talk about it. And Steve says mobile gaming has changed the whole monetization model of gaming. It's the reason we have loot boxes, paid DLC, season passes, etc. Yeah, paid DLC. I know it's supposed to be, was it digital something content, but I still like calling it disc lock content because it's on the disc. I just can't get to until I pay. Steve says it caused the whole industry to shift away from single player experiences like RDR2, Red Dead Redemption 2. Ralph says, so right, Steve. And Anthony Chaperone says, what up, Lola? Yep. You can wait. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I got your mic muted. There you go. And Steve says, oh, there you go. I'm gonna be at work during the morning show. You'll have to send me the clip. We'll do. We'll do. We'll send you the clip. It's because we're up there at 9 o'clock. So early, Randy. Wow, we up so early. And then here's the other question. No splat. No splat.
How does one find a single cool female geek? It seems they are more rare than Animanium. Brandon Cleckley. Thanks, Brandon, for writing in. Um, that's a tough question. I mean, I would say go to more geeky events. Uh, go to more shows, go to the after parties of these cons. I mean, I wasn't a geek at all. Well, I played video games, so I was kind of geeky, but I wasn't into comics or anything. And then I met my husband, and he showed me the whole industry and got me hooked on it. So you might be able to just find the right chick and turn her into a geek. You can try that. I mean, it worked on me, so I'm a total nerd now.
There you have it first assimilation. It's kind of like Stockholm syndrome. You just don't let them watch anything else. You know, and you know, it doesn't let them watch anything else. Make sure you control everything, everything they intake. Oh, you want to read something? You read this comic. Um, Eventually they'll succumb to it. Now, if I can weigh in on that for a minute, I think that you know, if like there's things that my wife liked that I did not like, and and there are things that I will not, I'll probably never like, and but just by being around it, you kind of get used to it. You kind of start to acclimate to it, and eventually might become a fan of. And I think that's a little bit of what happens. You know, your wife may totally dislike. She might not like comic books, or she might not like, um, action movies. But eventually, because it's what you like, she'll give it a shot, and then she might find herself actually liking it. One of the major problems is I know a guy who did this. His girlfriend told him she didn't like any of it, and she wanted him to get rid of all of it because she didn't like it. She didn't like the comic. She didn't like the action figures. She said they were kids things. They were childish, and he needs to get rid of them. And he did get rid of a lot of it. Took some stuff to his parents' house, but he got rid of a lot of that stuff. And then when they broke up, he was thankful he did not get rid of everything because he would have been out of a pretty expansive collection of things. But so she was the type to come in and says, "I'm not gonna try to coexist with this stuff or anything. I want you to grow up." And I, mm,
If a female isn't willing to compromise and at least give it a try, then that's not the girl for you at all.
Ralph says, "A girl that creative spirit is a good start."
That's
And
true.
Dave says, "My wife wasn't a gamer until she moved in with me."
See, I think I made you more of a gamer. Because when I first met you, you had a few games, but not the collection we have now.
I'd stopped playing games. I had stopped. I hadn't stopped, but I was definitely like not playing a lot of video games at the time. I had stopped playing. I had a PS3. I would keep the current gen tech, but I'd only have about um like I mean, because I really think like after PS2 I was kind of done, but I bought a PS3. And then yeah, like 10, 12 games, nothing expensive, and then I got with her, and at our most of PS3 we had about 300 games. And the reason why I play so many games, guys, is because she's boring. I'm just kidding. No, she likes to play video games, and I think um there was a point where yeah, yeah, she's definitely on the game system
Mortal
more than I am.
Kombat is my favorite.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat's one of my favorite. But yeah, now with PS4, now we got um we didn't go really crazy with PS4, but we probably got close to 100 games, and we've gotten rid of some because we didn't play them enough. But yeah, yeah, yeah. There's some games that aren't open. I just tried to play. I'm so behind. I just tried to play Overwatch the other day, and it's doing something weird to the system. So I'm not gonna put it back in there until I got some more room. But kept making my system turn power down and restart and power down and restart. So I was like, nah, nothing. That's not gonna play that again. But I'm really into retro gaming right now, and she's been playing some of the older games. It's kind of weird because we're kind of meeting on that now, where I was playing the older games and she's seeing what they were now and laughing at me. Um, Dave says my wife got me into reading manga, and I show her the gamer life.
See, I never really read manga at all. I think I should at least give it a try. Everyone's telling me to, but I don't even know where to start. So if you guys can give me suggestions, then I'll give it a try and let you know what I think.
I'm gonna let y'all know right now. Y'all start suggesting them expensive ass manga books, and I gotta buy them. We gonna all have a conversation. It's gonna be a live stream to remember. Where I start cussing out various people in the chat. Yeah, you can just put the TVMA up there.
It'll be X-rated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be a horrible show that day. Oh, did you hear what Varian said on the show? He said that he was gonna kick all our asses. um, I think that you see we're just approaching our. Now the other thing too is your show isn't as long as IndieVolt for now.
To end. It's just if people are engaging and want to talk, then we'll talk.
He says,
You're
oh,
muted.
he says, I think manga for the most part are just comics from a different country. There are probably mangas that are in the same genre that you normally read. I'd agree with that, Steve. My Hero Academia is a superhero comic, and there are some cultural differences because the way they tell stories and the setting, but it's a superhero story, and I would think that at some point someone's going to try to take that idea and westernize it. Is that a word? Give it that western influence and make it their own. He says, "What kind of stories would you be looking into, Lola? And what kind of stories would you be interested in reading? Manga stories."
I'm not sure. Maybe something fantasy themed. I mean, comics are fantasy themed, but I don't know. I like a lot of stories with like vampires and different things like that in it. So I'm not sure. I'm willing to give anything a try. I might like it.
Josh says, JR. Josh says, I've heard of manga. However, I didn't get into them until Naruto. Naruto. Sorry, I can't read tonight. Can't speak at all. And things in between, such as Bleach, One Piece, and a few more. More recent, My Hero Academia. Um, yeah, I mean My Hero. I had heard so much about it. It came out of nowhere for me. I was at a con and there were all these cosplayers walking around dressed as these characters. And Eric, Dreaded Dinosaur, who I do a lot of traveling with. He told me about it. And he had prints that he had made already. And so I come home. I jump on the Crunchyroll, and I sat one night and I think I watched about 6, 7 episodes, and then I got busy and I didn't get a chance to go back. But it does like an interesting series. And you what's that again?
I'm so tired of the cosplayers.
Oh, My Hero.
Oh my god. Don't get me started on that right now. I'll be nice. Will this new show, be only on Wednesdays for now? Yeah, it's gonna be on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. And we'll be on Facebook, all the platforms until 9:30, and then we're switching over to YouTube at after 9:30. If you like grim dark fantasy, Berserk and Attack on Titan are good. I'll give those a try. And JR says Berserk is also good. Well, I guess that's where I'm gonna start at then.
Eric has a bunch of Berserk art, but I think Eric always suggests Shield Hero, um, Ruby apparently. But I seen an article the other day. It was an article. It was a YouTube video from Jeremy at the Quartering, who said that they said the Ruby fandom is very toxic. Um, they got mad over some girl who had some fan art drawn of the bumblebees getting beat, and I don't watch the show, so I don't know who these characters are. Uh, and full disclosure, and the fandom they were on Twitter going crazy like, oh, this isn't canon, blah blah blah, screw you, and like, of course it's not canon. It's fan, um, it's a fan art, and they were really upset with this person. And I mean, I don't know if she got any death threats or anything, but you got
That are fans of anime are like that. If you don't portray the characters right or do something that's not supposed to be, then they're down your throats.
if only they would have had anime fans would have had that same type of zest in their spirits when they made that Dragon Ball movie a couple years ago, because I watched it, and that movie, I have it. I bought it when I seen it for sale for like $3, because I'm like, this is a moment of of like, you have to watch this movie to believe that bad cinema is it's possible. Like, it can get this bad. Uh, Tracy Stapleton Lookin says DMC Detroit Metal City is really good if you don't mind the nature of the mature content and language. I don't really enjoy manga, but I'm really into that series. Hey, what you say?
I love mature content and language. So, there's another story. Thank you, Tracy.
JR says, My Hero Academia. See, I can't. Oh my God. My Hero Academia and Ruby are my favorite, and the shows are addicting. I haven't gotten to say that about many shows. So, um, yeah, I mean, kind of odd man watching Ruby, but whatever. Um, I'm just messing with you, JR. I'm just messing, yeah, we'll talk about that. You watching Ruby weekend. I hear Ruby. Actually, look, I make that comment, but I'm telling you guys. When I tell you guys a funny story, um, it'll be very very quick funny story. But back in the '90s, I big PlayStation 1 fan, and I bought a Japanese PlayStation. I spent $275 on a PlayStation 1, because PlayStation was still, we still have PlayStation 1. So, but I bought a Japanese one just so I could play Sailor Moon Super S. The video game, a fighting game with Sailor Moon characters. What? No, it wasn't. And I played it, and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't worth $275 investment. Especially when I realized later on, I just went and got my PlayStation modded, and I could play all types of games, including burned ones. But that's another topic later. Um, and Dave says, "Oh, we did," and yeah, I think that I didn't. I mean, I probably wasn't worth it. I probably should have paid $250 for a modded system, but I did. I mean, a Japanese system. But then I went and got my regular PlayStation modded, and you could play all those games at that point. And I still have them. The PlayStation's down. You guys can't see them. But there's two PlayStations around the house. One of them is from Japan, and one of them is my first one that was modded. So yeah, it's I don't know which is which anymore. Yeah, yeah, all the systems are together.
We need more questions, guys. Don't be scared. None of my guests showed up either.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
I'm sad.
You the sad face. Let's see here.
Let's see. We got some comments. Steve says Battle Angel Alita is good if you like sci-fi.
Battle Angel Alita is a fantastic show, a fantastic manga. I remember watching the old anime, uh, rented it from Blockbuster years and years ago, and I fell in love with it. I thought it was awesome. And back then, Cameron was supposed to be doing the movie, and I was excited, like, oh yeah. And now it just come out, and I mean, I wasn't even out of high school yet. Maybe yeah, I was definitely wasn't out of high school when I first seen that movie. Um, let's see. Dave the Supreme says I did the same thing. Got a mild PlayStation 1 just to play Dragon Ball Legends. Yes, yes, Dragon Ball Legends. Hmm.
Worth it?
I don't know by that point, for me, it was okay. Uh, yeah.
Was it worth it to you, Dave?
Uh, let's see here. What do you think, Lola, about the exploitive women covers that don't fit the books at all? And let me try to explain what he means by that. Um, when like someone basically takes their character, who is like, for instance, she's wearing a suit of armor in the comic, okay? Big suit of armor, big heavy guns, but then all of a sudden on the cover of the comic, she's butt naked, getting out the pool with a ice cream cone in one hand, and the ice cream is running down her, you know, arm, down her cleavage and everything. What do you think about that? Books like that?
I mean, I don't have a problem with it as long as it's not the main cover. If it doesn't fit the story, but you want to have that sexy cover, have a special edition sexy cover. Don't have it as your main cover. I mean, because sex does sell, and there's nothing wrong with having a sexy female on your cover.
I gotta go with I gotta be in the opposite camp here for a second. Again, I got no problem with if you want to do a variant cover that's like yeah, man, this is my character. This is our cheesecake cover. But you know, well, that's what they call it. They call it cheesecake. They call it cheese. It's like if so here's our sexy variant cover. That's the character. But I also think it's something important when if you got the character, and Rob, tell me if I'm wrong in this one. What you think about this? But okay, let's flip this around for a second. Let's say that Easter is coming up, and it is coming up. But let's say Easter's coming up, and they decide they want to show all these characters going to church, and they decide that and celebrating Easter, and they decide that they are going to. What is all that stuff here falling? Wow. They decide they're going to show Catwoman and Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn all on the front pew of church, of a church, or I don't know, taking you know, just doing something totally out of character. If it's out of character, I kind of roll my eyes at it. Um, so I'm not going to. If I see a cover of Harley Quinn taking what is, I forget what they call it when you go to when you go to church, and is it a they put the little bread wafer in your mouth and you take the you grew up Catholic, come on, you tell me. Anyway, I don't I think that'd be kind of out of character. So when you got a character that's like a hard ass, and she's like a tough as nails character, and then you got a variant cover of her snuggling a teddy bear in her, bra and panties. I guess that's kind of weird. I probably wouldn't like it. Showing her soft side?
Yeah, just because she's a hard ass doesn't mean she doesn't have a soft side. Maybe she
Communion.
cuddles teddy bears when she's relaxing.
Communion. That's what it's called.
Thank you, Steve.
If I see Harley Quinn taking communion on a comic book cover,
I would laugh because it would be something that she would do.
I don't think Harley Quinn will do that. I don't think
I
Harley Quinn
think
take
she
communion.
would.
I don't think Harley Quinn's taking communion. I don't think Batwoman's taking communion. I don't think.
I see Harley doing it just because it's Harley.
Um, basis. Any favorite geek movies you're looking forward to in 2020?
Mm, I can't think right now. I know there's some coming out. I just drew a blank on what's coming out.
For me,
You're muted.
um, Black Widow comes out this year. I'm excited for that. I really think for me right now that's it. Black Widow. I'm probably forgetting something too, but Black Widow is the first one that comes up. I'm excited to see that one. And I'm pretty excited. That Birds of Prey looks horrible. I'll be honest with you. That Birds of Prey and Harley Quinn is one of her favorite characters, and that movie looks awful.
It's awful. I'm not even a fan of the new little TV series that she's got right now.
Man, we only watched one episode.
Yeah, and I just don't. The voice does not fit Harley at all, in my opinion. I just don't like it. I mean, some scenes are funny,
Mm-hmm.
and I probably will watch the rest of it, but I just don't like the way she's portrayed, and I don't like her voice at all. But I mean, even in the comics, they're messing her up.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole another story.
So should Costco? Read that one.
Should cosplayers get free tables at cons? No. Do they really matter considering how many cosplayers are walking through the doorway anyways? Cosplayers should not get free tables at cons. No. They're just taking pictures. I mean, I do modeling and I don't want a free table. As in my opinion, that's not art. I mean, they put a lot of work into some of them put a lot of work into their outfits, but it's not art.
I am always I'm always impressed when I see really good cosplay. Um, and I'm in awe of some cosplayers and their ability to make some of those costumes and pull them off. When it comes to giving free tables to cosplayers, though, I have to wonder because cosplayers will boast about that. Um, Cosplayers will boast, "Oh, I got a free table at this show." Oh, yeah, I get free tables wherever I go, and I get free hotel rooms because I tell the hotel that I have, 15,000 followers on Instagram, and I'm gonna take pictures in their hotel, and I'm gonna my 15,000. I've heard cosplayers do this, and so they get, oh, I'm gonna fly out for free, or I'm gonna go to my local con for free and stay in a hotel all weekend totally free and comic creators, we generally don't do that. We kind of keep our business to ourselves. We'll let a few people know, like Dave and I talk, and I'll tell Dave, hey Dave, I got a discounted table for this show, and you know, he'll tell me, some stuff, but I don't think the cosplayers have that same type of ethics. Some of them will tell you, "Oh, I don't pay for anything," and if I heard that whole section of cosplayers got the tables for free, I'm gonna be a little upset. Uh,
The one question about fake geek girls. because I've noticed a lot of the cosplayers, they're fake geek girls.
Mm.
They pick a popular character, they take sexy pictures of that character, and then they sell it for money. They're in it for the money, and they don't want to spend any money on tables or anything like that because they think they're owed something.
Yeah. I mean, it's you make a valid point, very valid point that that's good. That is, I've seen that happen. I've seen. I can't say that you're making it up. Uh, Jr. says, "Oh, I'm sorry." Steve says, "I have to admit, I'm pretty sick of the Joker and Harley Quinn." Um,
I love Harley Quinn. I'm sorry. She's like my favorite character. I have so much Harley stuff in my room. I mean, I have trades right here by my computer.
but wouldn't you agree that there seems to be a like they're taking Harley into a different direction as a character that as a fan, as an old school fan of Harley, you're a little worried about.
Oh yeah, the newer stuff that she's doing, I don't even read that honestly because it's just like that's not Harley at all. I like classic Harley. I mean, I'll read some of the older new stuff, but yeah, no, I don't like what they're doing to her now.
Jr. says, Black Widows, a few actors and Birds of Prey, the Eternals. Few that I guess that's about the movies he was looking forward to. Um, and then Rob says, so don't tip your cosplayer.
Not at all.
Not tipping the cosplayer.
No.
Yeah. If you did not know what Rob's referring to, if you got a email question from a young lady a while ago who says that cosplayers should be tipped. And when you ask, and this is just cosplayers who are walking through the show. They're not
You
invited
are
guests.
not on mic. No one can hear you.
Oh. Okay. Well, I was saying that these are not cosplayers who are invited. The cosplayer question he's referring to, he says don't tip your cosplayer, is because we had a lady write in who said that she wanted to get tipped. She's just someone who walks around shows dressed as Black Canary or whoever, and she thinks that if you stop her for a picture, you should, you know, give her a couple dollars for stopping her. Like she and her thing was, look, they do it on Hollywood Boulevard. Um,
If that's where they're doing it, go there.
mm, I mean,
You
well,
come to a con supposedly to look at artwork and indie comics. It's not about the cosplayers.
you got a good point. You got a good point.
I mean, I don't dislike cosplayers,
Mm-hmm.
but they're trying to act more important than they are. It's not about the cosplayers. And like I said, most of them are just posing because they know, oh, if I dress up as this character and pose sexy, people will give me money.
Let's see here. JR says, I'm interested in Bloodshot. Yeah, Bloodshot looks like he's gonna be okay. Especially since they just put out some pictures of him with the actual like white skin, like that pale skin. Unless that was just a filter for the trailer. Otherwise, it might be pretty good. Random, but is a New Mutant set to finally release? Yeah, I think they actually got a release for it now. I don't know the date, but I know I've seen something about it, and they're gonna actually put it out. JR says, I had a cosplay having cosplayers are more important than creators.
See? There's my point right there. They think they think people owe them everything, and that's not how it should be. They should be if they think that they're that important, then throw a cosplayer convention where it's nothing but cosplayers. Because comic conventions are supposed to be about the comics and the indie comics and that type of stuff, not cosplay. They should throw their own convention and see if people come.
I'd be interested to know if they did that. Where in the hell? Who's gonna spend money? Because there's nothing to buy. I mean, you get a bunch of cosplayers tables. Only thing they could do is maybe sell fabric and makeup. But everyone's walking around taking pictures of each other, and I don't think I would go to a.
That would come would be guys that want sexy pictures, maybe, and perverted photographers. Photographers.
I get it. I get it. That's pretty accurate. Um, Josh says the actress is portraying Canary Hunters. I'm wanting to see. Steve says it's not that I hate them. I just feel they're oversaturated, Harley and Joker. And yeah, I mean, I think that's a problem that we had a Wolverine for a while. He was everywhere. Um, yeah. So eventually they start to. And then they get lame. People say, "Oh, I'm so over Harley and Joker. They're so lame." It's yesterday's news. It's so 2018. Day says, I like to see the Joker push to another direction. I
Yeah.
just Joker push another direction. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I would say they're doing that. What they're doing with that character. He's got a haven't done much with him recently.
They can do so
Aside from
much
that,
with him.
yeah.
I mean, he's psychotic. There's so many different angles they can play with him.
Says he play with him. Says I feel like I'm in the back of the church because my microphone was messing up. Uh, says I'd be okay if she was upfront about it. Uh, I feel like the cosplayers are for the kids. Yeah, I mean, like,
Just,
okay,
I have a whole other opinion on that too.
okay, go ahead.
With kids,
Go ahead.
everyone's probably gonna hate me for saying this,
Okay.
but I don't think kids should go to cons. When I first started going to cons 10 years ago, there weren't many kids there, and it seemed like more independent books were moving. I mean, you had your Playboy models, you had all kinds of other stuff, and the customers, which were guys, seemed like they were more happy. Now you go to shows and you got the guy who can't stop and talk to a female that's behind the table or anything like that, and everything has to be kid friendly. And that's another reason why you don't see a lot of romance books anymore, because you can't make them because it's all kid friendly.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. I mean, oh, I got your little screen. Yay.
Hi.
I got your full screen and I'm messing up.
And you can't hear you.
Um, I can understand that. I mean, some cosplay, when cosplayers are there for the kids and they're actually involved in the art and they're actually excited about being at the show, it's an awesome thing. But there are some people who are seasoned upon being a cosplayer just to get in the industry to try to suck some money out of it or suck as much money out of it as they possibly can. And look, that's just not cosplayers. There are some creators who are doing the exact same thing. They heard there's money in those comic book heels, and they're at comic cons, and they have no idea about like the culture. Say again.
They don't know about the industry at all and what it takes to make a comic and the ins and outs. They
And
just figure that, oh, I made this book, people will buy it.
and even if they did have they understood the industry, I think that because you can know how to make a comic, and that's fine, but you have to have some respect for what came before you and the respect of the people in the industry, and when you don't have that, it creates this animosity from that older generation and some of your current generation, and this us versus them mentality starts. But the thing is, there are people, and I don't want to say names, but I've talked to people, and I'm like, hey, I think I mentioned this before on the show. I walked up to a guy, I said, hey, remember GI Joe, blah 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 blah, and he looked like. No, I didn't watch that as a kid. Oh, okay. Well, how about Thundercats? Where no. Oh, what cartoons did you watch as a kid? Oh, I didn't watch cartoons as a kid. I didn't. Eh. Comic books. I mean, this is the same person, and I found out that they did not follow anything. They didn't follow anything. All they did was they were in the industry to make as much money as possible. And trust me, once they make their money and they feel that it dries up, they're gonna head for the hills. And some cosplayers will do the exact same thing. Once they don't make money, or once they feel that it's dried up, they're gonna run for the hills. Uh, let's see here. Uh,
What are we reading?
I feel like just
Uh, I
for the
feel
kids.
like
Oh,
those
sorry.
You are not muted.
Yeah.
No one can hear you. I feel like the cosplayers are just for the kids. Well, some of them. I don't know. Most of the females are not. Maybe they're just for the teenage kids, because young boys might like what they see.
Well, some of the young girls like what they see too.
Yeah. I've seen a few that are like, hey.
Go ahead, read that one.
Those cosplay conventions failed. One in New Jersey, one in North Carolina, and one in Cali. All failed. Yeah, because no one's gonna want to go to them.
And no one spends any money. No one spends any money.
No, no money is spent. I mean, the cosplayers themselves don't want to spend money on the tables. They want everything given to them because they think they're the bee's knees. And it's not true.
Um, Dave says they can have a self-taught class, and I've seen cosplayers with self-taught classes, how to be a cosplayer, how to break into comics, and that's cool. I like seeing that. I like it when they're actually trying to teach rather than pump themselves up as you know, I'm gonna teach you how to do this the right way so you can, um, all come to me and I'll be your Lord Master. You remember you can't get in unless I tap you on the head and say that you're allowed to come in this industry. Got Lewis in the chat, quote the Raven, Lewis Raven. He says, yo, how are y'all doing? We're doing fine, Lewis. How are you? Uh Dave Supreme says, I understand that. And Lewis says, they're using comics as a means to attempt to break into other media. Many pro cosplayers eventually do become special effects makeup artists and costumers because their work is that good. And I think he's talking about cosplayers as such as I think Riddle is one who does phenomenal work. And these are people, those are cosplayers that I look at and say, now that's a cosplayer. Because not only does she take the time and the money to put into what she's doing, but if she also um she also takes time to understand the character, research the character. I think the first time I seen Riddle was a documentary. I think as Matt Spurlock did the Comic Con documentary, and they followed them around, and I think she did her and a couple other people. They I forget which documentary I seen her first in, but yeah, Riddle and there's a couple other ones that do phenomenal work, and those people I have no problem with, but um I do think that some people get into cosplay X shows. They buy the costumes from from the Halloween store, and then they don't they don't put any work into them. Dave the Supreme says,
A set like term for pro.
mm-hmm.
I mean, we were just at a con with Cosplay Alley or whatever they want, Cosplay Corner, whatever they wanted to call themselves, and those chicks thought they were pro. But all they were taking characters and barely wearing anything and selling their pictures. That's not pro. Just because you have a lot of followers and you dress sexy doesn't mean you're a pro. You're not a pro cosplayer. You didn't put any money or time and effort into your cosplay. You threw on a pair of booty shorts and a crop top and called it a day, or body paint and called it a day. That's not pro cosplay.
Keep in mind, I never said I don't like it. Um, I never said I don't like it. I did say that, but I think that yeah. Um, Lewis says pro cosplayers: Yaya Han, Riddle, Vera Vanguard, Chris, and Miracle Burns examples. Yeah, and those are all big names, and I would add a couple more. I would add. I know people might not like this, but I would add. Oh crap! I'm drawing a blank on her name. Jessica Nigri to that list. Even though she's known for being sexy, um, I know her Chainsaw Lollipop costume was on point, but I'm not sure.
She's
Did,
not a pro though.
did somebody buy? Did they make that for her? Or did she make that herself? Like, is the idea
A,
of a pro cosplayer
a
somebody
lot of
who
her stuff is made for her.
made it for? Is the idea of a pro cosplayer somebody who like
Does
they
it
get behind the?
themselves.
I don't look. I don't. I'm not gonna get mad if I find out a young lady took had her boyfriend do the hammering out of a chest plate for her because he could do that, or her cousin is a welder and was able to weld some stuff together for her. That's fine. You brought all that together and made that happen. That's fine. But I do think that if you go to Amazon.com and you type in "slutty Harley Quinn" and you buy that costume and you come to Comic Con and you're slutty Harley Quinn and enter the costume contest, and you're probably not a pro cosplayer. Not to say you shouldn't dress up. You should enjoy the character, dress up as them. But
Yeah, you can dress up however you want, but don't call yourself a pro if you're just wearing barely nothing.
and also don't go out there and say you're tell Rob Anderson that, oh, by the way, we're cosplayers and we're more important than you guys. Because I mean, I remember when Rob told me that cosplayer told him we're more important than the creators here. And again,
Mhm.
we make the show. That is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
If it
Oh,
wasn't for Artist Alley,
hmm
a lot of shows wouldn't happen, in my opinion. Promoters take the money from the tables that artists pay to help fund the cost for celebrities and other things. So if it wasn't for the artist and Artist Alley, then a lot of shows wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's true. I think that's fair. Steve says, I admire the work that good cosplayers do, and I want people to have fun dressing up as characters they like. But I've never had run-ins you guys have. Steve, eventually you will. You won't be able to believe it. I think that sometimes cosplayers, though, some of them aren't professionals, and professionals know how to share the con. When you have a cosplayer that walks down your row and they stop in front of your table and do an impromptu photo session in front of
Right,
your
an
table.
hour.
We've had somebody standing there for better part of an hour and a half taking pictures and drawing a crowd, and that was like, if they weren't professional, even though they had a nice costume. They weren't a well-known cosplayer. Lewis says, keep in mind, Vera, Chris, and Miracle are also actors, and let's see here. Oh, the issue with cosplay, says Rob, issue with cosplay panels is that the same 30 people go to all the panels. So they aren't drawing a crowd. They are just all hanging out at the panels for self importance.
Yes. A lot of the cosplayers just pat each other on the back, like, good job. And then the other ones just take sexy pictures and try to sell them.
He's Lewis is Riddle equal Nikki Lakota. They're all out of Atlanta. Chris is actually a Central Michigan University grad whom I went to college with back in the early '90s, and was well, they're both maybe they're pros because they offer happy endings.
I'm
Oh,
sure some of them probably do.
you know what? I mean, I remember being on the air. We had a Wizard World Chicago
Chicago. Yep.
show, and we were on the air. We were having a Wizard World Chicago special, and a young lady sent in a question and it was her and her friend. They were offering cosplay massages, and she used some phrasing to let me know that
It
more than a
wasn't just
massage was
massage,
available. Yeah, you could get anything you wanted. Wait,
including doubles.
yeah. Uh, I see. There are many bad cosplayers. As Varian can tell you, I've gone off on that around on IndieVolt in the past. Yeah, Steve, there are many bad cosplayers. That Lewis is saying that too, Steve. There are many bad cosplayers. He says Jessica Negri is more of a model and up and coming voice actress than a pro cosplayer. The others actually are doing design work themselves as a rule.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see cosplayers get taught a little bit more etiquette. Especially if you're looking to get into the industry as a cosplayer, there needs to be some ground rules laid down, and amongst themselves, uh, because what I'm seeing at some shows, just I wish they would be a little more courteous to the other people in the show too. And then
But
when
see, that's the thing. They don't care. It's all about them.
mm, it's yeah, I mean, well, I mean that's the thing though, and they've been allowed to think that. Like Rob will tell you, they've been allowed to believe that they are more important than us. When you start saying, "Hey, come to the con and here's 7 free tickets and bring your friends," and you know,
Yeah, when they offer $5,000 cash prizes for cosplay contests and don't offer the artist any type of thing, it's
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah,
I
that is
mean, tables in Artist Alley are expensive, and even more if you're small press.
that's true. That's true. Well, Lola, it's about time to get out of here.
It is.
So you'll be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m.
I will.
We're
Hope
going to.
you guys are with me.
So we see the cool thing about this is we see what changes, what works, what doesn't. We can change stuff around. You may have a different setup.
I'm still
Now,
gonna be colorful
you're still going to be on IndieVolt Live as well.
on Tuesdays. Yes.
Right, you're still doing IndieVolt Live, so you're not going anywhere.
Nope.
You got your own show too now. Real quick, last question is uh, Rob says a cosplayer told me it's harder to make a customer than a comic. It takes 12 hours to 30 hours to make a costume. Really?
It takes months and even years sometimes to make a good comic.
If you're me, it takes decades. Um, yeah,
Indie
that cos
comics can take a while.
yeah, 12 30 hours. If it took me 12 30 hours to make a comic, I'd probably have more out.
Right?
Yeah, that cosplay is misinformed, and hopefully they won't be around. Or they get educated and they decide that they need to come to you and apologize for what they said. So that's stupid.
Rob's just had bad experiences with cosplayers. They
Yeah,
don't like him at all.
yeah. I don't know. They should cosplay as his character though.
I
That's what we're
know.
gonna do. We're gonna get a bunch of people to cosplay as Barbara Rob.
There
Thank
we
you for
go.
joining us, guys. We really do appreciate that. Um,
Thanks for all the support. It is the first show, so we're still I'm still learning.
yes, she is. She's still learning.
And I guess I'm twerking on Batman.
Yeah. So, guys, thanks for joining us. Lola, appreciate it. I appreciate it. This has been Geekgasm. You want to tell everybody why you got special?
I don't have a special buy yet, but I'll figure it out. I'm sorry, guys. I don't have everything together yet. But like I said before, I really do appreciate you guys coming and spending some time with Geekgasm. I plan on having a co host very soon and some guests. Tonight, it just didn't work out the way it was supposed to. But you can catch me and Varian on IndieVolt on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. And you can catch Varian on IndieVolt at Thursdays at 9 a.m. And me, Geekgasm, will be Wednesdays at 9 p.m.
If they're barber cosplayers, at least they will be gagged. Rob says, at least they'll be gagged. Thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate it. I will be, as Lola said, on the Indie Vote Breakfast Buzz in the morning. In the morning, 9 a.m. We'll see you then. Until then, stay safe. We'll see you back here again real soon.